it's not that we're experts in grief, so we're not coming in from coming here with that point of view or that standpoint. But we think we've dealt with some situations to be able to say these are things you really shouldn't say to people, and that's kind of where this list is deriving
we've
from.
Become well acquainted with grief.
We're not going to say that we heard these phrases all the time, but we did. But we just want to list them off. And
how can we be there for people that are grieving in the best way possible? Is really our heart, because sometimes we can say things even though we don't mean it to be, because I've been guilty of saying all of these things, and we don't mean to be insensitive, but we can come off that way. And I think, knowing to be careful about saying these things or phrasing them in different manners, it can help people a lot better. That's how we can serve people who are grieving a lot better.
Yeah. All right. So let's go with number one. And the phrase for number one is, it's not that bad.
Yeah. But we can say that in so many ways.
Like, it can be free. It wears many hats.
Yeah.
Many, many hats. So, Carla, what's a way you've heard it before?
I've heard it as people take like actual facts from your situation. For example, when you're in the hospital, you are sedated, you are intubated. And I think the person who came up to me and told me something along those lines didn't mean to do it. Like they were not trying to be insensitive. It was a great person, but they said something along the lines of, well, he's young and you're young and you guys have only been married a year and a half.
You're like, you'll find another
but
husband.
It was like, they didn't mean to be insensitive. They really didn't. I believe that from the bottom of my heart.
I don't think many people do.
No, I think I think a lot of these things are said because people just don't understand. That's it.
Yeah.
They just don't understand. But this person said something along those lines to almost make me feel like it's not that bad. You can remarry. And I was like, it was insensitive.
Yeah.
But like I said, I really don't think this person was ill-intentioned, but it definitely came off that way.
Yeah, and it was like that with me too. Like when my father passed, they were like, well, at least you had a good life with him. You're older, so you had. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I still need my dad.
Like, it shouldn't hurt that bad.
Yeah, like, oh, you'll be fine.
How old were you when he passed?
I don't know.
If this was like 19,
I was
maybe?
19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wears many hats, but the phrase, it's not that bad, it's not something you should be saying to anyone who's grieving in any way, shape, or form. Whether you think it's a tough grief or not, that disclaimer. And the next one is, you're overreacting or you're too dramatic. That's a biggie.
That one hurts because we can grieve many things. Like we were talking about, I was grieving many things while we were going through our process. And let me say this, you can be grieving and not mourning.
Ooh, that's good.
Can we say that? Because that's something that I learned in our process. Actually, I felt led by God to look up the meaning of those words. And when you look up the word mourning, it's literally that state that you go into when someone dies, right? When someone passes away. You're wearing black, you do the whole funeral thing, you literally go into a process of mourning, of honoring the person who's passed. But you can be grieved and not mourning. When you're in grief, or when you're going through grief.
Yes. Try again. It's okay.
My grammar checked out. But when you're in grief, it literally means you're under extreme stress.
Yes.
You are distressed, really. And so you're not technically mourning. And so when you tell someone you're overreacting, you can still be grieved, and you might be grieving the loss of a job, the loss of an income, the loss of a dream that you thought you had. Maybe you had an athletic goal and now it's not possible because of an injury. I mean, you can grieve so many things.
Like I said, like we said in the beginning, grief wears many different hats and it comes from different perspectives. And, mourning doesn't always end in the morning.
Did y'all see what he did there?
I've been thinking about this for the past 5 minutes. I just wanted
but it's
to
true.
Say it. It's true.
Sometimes the night season is very, very long. And again, just because that thing that person is grieving might not seem like a big deal to you, it could be that we're not understanding the depth of how much that person cared for that thing, or or you know, that dream, that person,
the
whatever,
severity of the situation. You're not in their shoes, so you can't really.
Yeah.
You can which is something I tell Carla often. You can sympathize, but you can't empathize. Or is it the other way around?
No, that was right.
Yeah. You can sympathize. Like, I can have sympathy. I feel for you. But you can't empathize because you're not there. You know, you're not in that pain.